Good morning, Charlotte. We're bowling, baby.
Totally out of your element, dude.
Without further ado, let's bring up our main event, the Charlotte Roller Girls. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay. Established in 2006, the Charlotte Roller Girls is a skater-owned and operated sports organization comprised of women and men from all walks of life. Formed to promote the sport of roller derby and enrich the Charlotte community, the league and its members donate their time and a portion of their bout proceeds to local charitable causes. We love these generous, creative, badass ladies that are up here right now. So, my fellow Charlotteans, here to speak to us on our global theme of game, please welcome Courtney Burgess, a.k.a. Oive Maria, Chris Finlan, a.k.a. Sense of Doom, Magda Gutchard, a.k.a. Seems Legit, Leslie Dill Robinson, a.k.a. Dill With It, and Julie Murphy, a.k.a. Crashberry Jam, all members of the Charlotte Roller Girls. Let them have it. Woo!
Most people think of roller derby as fast action, hard-hitting, free-for-all. For those of you who are my age and older, you probably remember Bank Track, Raquel Welch, the Kansas City Bombers, basically WWE on roller skates. I'm here to tell you that is not what roller derby is. Roller derby is a game of strategy, endurance, and teamwork. And you can learn a lot about yourself and the game of life by learning about the game of roller derby. I began playing roller derby 4 years ago after meeting a bunch of the players at a 5K race. Then I went and watched a bout, and I thought, that's badass. And I want to be badass. And apparently my husband wanted me to be badass because my husband bought me my first pair of roller skates. A fact that he sometimes regrets now. But that was so far outside my normal, everyday persona. I've been an athlete all my life, but I have never been badass. Now, when you start roller derby, you get to choose your name. Kind of an alter ego. My parents gave me the name Julie Schaefer, my husband gave me the name Murphy, and my grandkids gave me the name GJ. I gave myself the name Crash. Crashberry Jam, if you really want to be formal about it. The best thing derby has done for me, and what I see in others, is self-empowerment. Young women taking leadership roles on and off the track, things that they might not get to do in their otherwise young careers. In fact, a lot of times I give advice to our younger players and I say, sure, go ahead and put roller derby on your resume. Even if it's not something that really plays to your skill set and what you want to be or what you want to do, you're demonstrating leadership skills. I've seen large women who've been told their whole lives that they can't be athletes because they're too big, or skinny women who've told they can't play contact sports because they're too small. And I'm here to tell you that's not the truth. Every single derby player is an athlete. Women of all ages, all professions. Our league consists of women ages 19 to 53. Students, stay-at-home moms, teachers, nurses, PhDs, lawyers, bankers, opera singers, office managers, costume designers, web designers, graphic designers, and the list goes on and on. It's about empowerment. It's about letting anybody participate, no matter your gender or your size or the way other people see you in the world. While we are a league of women skaters, our league consists of men and women, all ages, who come together for a common bond, the love of the roller derby and the joy of being a badass. Derby is very accepting. If you love the game, we love you. And don't we all wish that life could be exactly that? If you love the game of life, don't you wish we could just love each other? So you may not notice my badassery when I'm sitting in a suit in a boardroom, but I can tell you on the derby track, I am empowered, I am emboldened, I am a badass, and I got game.
Morning, everybody. I'm Doom. And when I think of game, I think of competition. And it's funny because I am not by nature a competitive person. So, for example, I used to be a kickboxer. And what I discovered when I was kickboxing is that I never wanted to win badly enough to hurt the other person, which, let me tell you, is not a winning strategy in kickboxing. And so as a non-competitive person, what I decided to do professionally was to become a lawyer. And I'm not just a lawyer, I'm a litigator, which means that my entire professional life is constant competition. I am constantly trying to compete for clients. I am constantly trying to beat my opposing counsel. I am constantly trying to have the best case, the best argument, the best way to win and convince a court that my client's case is the best. And so I got into roller derby, and how is kind of a long story. Also, it was a dare, so we're not going to go into that. And what I discovered was a really different way to compete. What I discovered was how to compete as a team and how to compete as a group of people bringing each other up all together rather than trying to climb over each other to the top. What I discovered was having a love for my team. And what I also discovered was having a love for the other team. We play really hard, but a lot of times, even on the track, even in the heat of the game, when another blocker gets a good hit on me, I will actually say, hey, that was a good hit. Not necessarily in that moment sometimes I wait. Sometimes I wait until over a beer at the after party. And the other kind of competition that I learned was competition with myself. These are my teammates. I don't have to be better than them. I have to be better than I was yesterday. And what's interesting is 2 years ago, I started my own practice. Actually, 2 years ago this week, so yay, anniversary. And I do plaintiff side employment litigation. And what I've discovered is that the self-confidence that I have gotten on the track has translated into self-confidence in my professional life. What I have discovered also is that the self-confidence that I have gained in my professional life has contributed to 2 years of serious growth for me as a derby player. So rethinking competition is spilling back on the track and also into my professional life. So what I would say to you is, if you don't think you're a competitive person, that doesn't mean that you don't have game. That just means that you need to learn how to play in a way that works for you.
I'm Oive Maria, typically go by Oi. So by now, you guys figured out we play roller derby. Noticing earlier, you guys, a lot of you on your name tags put that the game that you play is the game of life. And for me, roller derby kind of took my path in life to a different level. All throughout school life, when I was a child, I was a very timid, shy, tiny human. And I was the one that was always afraid to raise my hand in class. I was fearful I'd get the answer wrong. I'm, hiding out so people aren't seeing me. And I kind of find my way into the arts. And I then took the path of to be a photographer. Kind of makes sense, right? It's very typical. Well, a couple years into being a photographer, I found roller derby. And it took me about 6 months to finally say yes, because I was still afraid I was going to make the biggest fool of myself on skates. So 6 months later, I say yes, and I was immediately taken to roller derby. I was enthralled with these women, the confidence they had, the power they showed, and they were just so unapologetically themselves. That's what I knew that I wanted, what I needed at that time in my life. A couple years later, I'm playing roller derby, and I'm now looked at as a leader on the track. That then translated into what we call our real job, our professional life as a leader. Without roller derby, I would never have taken those steps to move forward, to move up into that position. It gave me the confidence to find myself, to learn what my actual strength was. A leader. I learned from these women that what is it to be a leader? You had to have the knowledge. They were learning everything, the ins and the outs of the game. They learned about their teammates, their players. They were kind to themselves and kind to their teammates. And I think we all know that being kind to yourself is probably harder sometimes and takes a lot of mental strength. They were patient. Something I still work on daily is my patience. And the other thing I learned is they were not dictators. These women who were seen as strong leaders, they weren't dictating to us what we had to do, what we should do. It doesn't work. Being a dictator does not work. You can't just yell at someone to do what you want them to do. After that, again, it's now been almost 5 years in roller derby, and I'm now a leader on the track and off the track. I see so often that we are getting knocked down in our personal lives, mentally and physically, and it took that for me to actually be able to find my place. Now these days, my role as a roller derby leader and my work as a leader are intertwined. Every day I take something from my real job to roller derby, from roller derby to my real job, and everyone is a teammate and a team player to me. This game of roller derby, for me, allowed me to become myself and find where my true passion in life actually was.
Hi, I'm Seems Legit. Or legit. So if there's one thing that a lot of people that know me about me is that I'm terrible at failing. It's not because it doesn't happen. Trust me, it does. I just don't take it very well. For a really long time in my life, I stuck to things I didn't readily fail at, and I can say without very much doubt that I am pretty damn good at what I do for a living. I work full-time at Children's Theater of Charlotte as a costume craftsperson. What that means, for those of you that don't know, is that I get to make all the fun stuff that is generally worn on the body for children's shows, like ears and tails and hats and puppets. Those are things that I'm talented at doing. I've been doing some form of art or craft my entire life, and I finally found a career where I can do what I love to do. I'm also a costume designer, most often at Children's Theater, and while I can't say as confidently that I am damn good, I think I'm okay. I keep getting hired, and I keep learning something from every show I do, so there's something there. So I went around in my bubble of doing things well because I've always done them, and I had a hard time challenging myself. But when I went to grad school, I had a big wake-up call. I couldn't just coast through life without failing. I had this professor who would constantly yell at me, "It's okay to fail, just try the damn thing." And that really stuck with me. And it's hard to forget a California hippie yelling something like that at you while you're sobbing over some terrible art. So it's something I've aimed to stick to. Keep trying the things. If there's enough time, push further than your comfort zone, and fail. Come up with solutions. But if there's something I was never good at, it's sports. I think I can safely say any sport, but I never even tried a team sport. I'm definitely your typical only child. I play well by myself. So one day that became my next challenge for myself, and I'm constantly trying to find those things, put things on my list that scare me. I needed to push myself, trick myself into a new form of creativity. So why not something safe and simple like roller derby? It was not an easy feat. I spent a year working out, going to practices, participating in teamy things, officiating games before I finally passed my assessments. A year of crying, trying to quit, being lucky enough that very few people on the team would let me quit. It helps that my boss is a derby girl. I used my creative skills in a way I've never exercised before, gave my brain the ultimate workout. I played my first game last April. It was It was probably one of the most terrifying experiences of my life, and I barely told anyone it was even happening because I was so worried about embarrassing myself. Luckily, it was an away game in Gastonia. Just far enough and unpublicized enough that I could play in secret. And I did terribly. And I'm okay with saying that because I went. And what mattered was I was gaming my own system. That was the point. No one can be good at everything. That's something that I've had to teach myself. You just have to find your way to do something that scares you because that's what's exciting.
Are we getting in?
Yeah.
That wasn't exactly right. That's okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Leslie Robinson. In my professional life, on the track, it's Dill with it. Most of the time, I just go by Dill, like the pickle, D-I-L-L. Yeah, that was my maiden name. But in my professional life, I teach at UNC Charlotte. I teach sexual health for the campus, so it's super fun. Yeah, I love what I do. And I'm also the advisor for the Wellness Ambassadors, which is a student organization that teaches students how to be the educators for other students about sensitive topics. So yes, I know, right? It's so fun. So I'm one of the newest players, actually, to the league. I skated my first bout in October of this past year. Yeah, I know. And I actually started skating with Skate Charlotte. Just so everybody knows, when you want to come out and play roller derby, which all of you should, we don't just throw you into a bout. There's actually like step-by-step processes in place. So you start out skating and there's, tests, and then there's a written test, and then you go through more training, and then there's a test, and then there's a written test. Like, you don't just go out there and start doing the thing. So don't let that scare you if you're thinking about coming out. But I went through it really quickly. As a child, I used to roller skate professionally, but not like this. I wore the outfits, like the ice skaters that dance and do all the twirls, but I did that on wheels. So when I started thinking that I wanted to go do something competitively, which I had never done, I was like, I'm going to go do roller derby because one of my really good friends was doing roller derby, and I was like, this is going to be fun. I told my family. My dad was like, I hope you have good health insurance. And as soon as I heard from my family that they were like, we don't think this is a good idea, I knew immediately that's what I was doing. Like, I'm going to do roller derby. This is going to happen. Y'all can come watch. It'll be cool. And so I had the basic skills of being on wheels, but having the basic skills doesn't necessarily translate into I'm going to be a good derby player. So for me, what I've found with derby and what is so great about it for me is that in my professional life, I'm a leader. I lead lots of causes on campus, off campus. I work for the North Carolina School Health Training Center, where I teach public school teachers how to better teach their students. I'm always a leader in everything I do. And here, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's so fabulous because, I get to go in there and actually be out of my comfort zone in a way that a lot of people aren't. So I am the trainee in this situation. Every time I hit the track, I'm learning, I'm scared, I'm excited, I look forward to it every time I go. So what I would say to all of you is that, we all have obstacles in our lives. We all have barriers that we put up for ourselves or that are put up for us. And you just have to work to overcome those. And Derby's helping me to overcome mine.
On three. 1, 2, 3.
We be determined!
The Charlotte Roller Girls, everybody! Let's hear it for them!
That's so awesome. We're going to give away our first ever official Creative Mornings Charlotte coffee mug. This is a new tradition that we're doing, created by the talented, the one, the only, Jamie Carlvati. Thank you, Jamie, for creating these. So, yes, we usually only have one speaker, so you'll have to share this one.
You're a team.
but they're a team. Team drinking, team coffee drinking. Thank you guys. One more time for the Charlotte Roller Girls, everybody. Thank you. Our first ever tag team talk. Check out the Charlotte's Creator Podcast because we're going to be interviewing these folks, and that'll be released on iTunes in the next couple of weeks here. Next up is May 4th. We are going to be exploring the theme of commitment. We are going to be having this over at Resident Culture Brewing Company on Central Avenue. The speaker's going to be Chaz Fagan. I don't know how many people know who Chaz Fagan is, but this guy is a remarkable visual artist, sculptor, and painter with an incredible, incredible story. And you've seen his work all over, not just Charlotte, but all over the world as well. And he lives right here in our backyard. So he's going to be our speaker.